What if the person you trusted the most, the one who always lent a helping hand, was hiding something unspeakable? We like to believe we can judge character, that we would know if someone dangerous lived next door. But the truth is far more unsettling. Sometimes the most horrifying secrets lurk behind the most familiar smiles. This is the story of how one friendly neighbor, a man who seemed like the heart of his community, was hiding a darkness no one saw coming. If you're fascinated by real-life cases that challenge what we think we know, make sure to subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next. It all started with a smell. Not just any smell. Something foul. Something that made even the most seasoned police officers gag when they stepped through the door. The neighbors had whispered about the man next door for years, but no one imagined he was capable of this. Brookhaven, a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where front lawns are neatly trimmed, and neighbors wave to each other on their morning walks. It was a community built on trust, where garage doors were left open and kids played freely in the streets. No one would have suspected that behind one of these doors lay a horrifying secret. The man at the center of it all was Harold Grayson. To those who knew him, he was just the friendly old man who offered to mow their lawns, shoveled their driveways in the winter, and always had a kind word. He babysat for single mothers, helped fix broken fences, and brought groceries to elderly neighbors who couldn't make it to the store. He was the embodiment of a good Samaritan, or so everyone thought. Harold? Oh, he was such a sweet man. Mrs. Callahan, an elderly neighbor, would later say, "When my husband passed, he made sure my lawn was taken care of. I never had to ask. He just did it. He once helped me jump my car in the dead of winter." A younger neighbor, Tom Reynolds, recalled, "He didn't even hesitate, just knocked on my door and said, 'I saw you struggling. Let me help.' That's the kind of guy he was." Harold had woven himself into the fabric of Brookhaven, his kindness making him indispensable. But looking back, some neighbors started to remember odd moments, times when his friendly demeanor felt just a little too insistent. "He always seemed to know when I was home alone," one woman whispered. "I never thought much of it before. Now, it gives me chills." Then there was Jessica Lane, a bright and ambitious 28-year-old woman who had moved into the neighborhood just a year earlier. She was friendly, always greeting her neighbors, but mostly kept to herself. She worked from home as a freelance graphic designer and was known for her late-night walks around the block. Jessica had dreams bigger than Brookhaven. She had moved to the quiet suburb for a fresh start, escaping a fast-paced city life that had drained her creativity. She decorated her home with warm tones, filling it with plants and artwork she had painted herself. Her social circle was small but meaningful. Her best friend, Maya, spoke of Jessica's deep compassion and her love for storytelling. She could make a mundane day sound like an adventure. "That's just who she was," Maya said. But Jessica had also voiced concerns about Harold. "He's nice, but something about him makes me uneasy," she had once admitted to a coworker. "He always shows up when I least expect it. I think he watches me." No one paid much attention to her worries at the time. After all, Harold was just the friendly neighbor. Until one day Jessica Lane vanished. It started with missed messages. Jessica's friends and family grew worried when she didn't respond to texts or emails. Her employer noticed she hadn't logged into work. Days turned into a week, and the concern deepened. Her car remained in the driveway, her mailbox overflowed, and the porch lights remained on all night. Finally, a welfare check was requested. When officers knocked on her door, there was no answer. They peered through the windows, nothing seemed out of place. But then, a neighbor mentioned a strange smell coming from Harold Grayson's house. The same friendly old man who had always seemed so helpful and kind. Police paid him a visit, expecting little more than a neglected fridge or maybe a rodent problem. Harold answered the door with his usual smile, but something was off. His hands trembled slightly. He hesitated when answering questions, and that smell, stronger inside the house, made it clear something was very wrong. Then they saw it, a dark stain on the living room carpet. Within minutes, Harold was in handcuffs. Officers moved deeper into the home, bracing themselves for what they might find. In the basement, wrapped in plastic and hidden behind stacks of old boxes, was Jessica Lane. The discovery sent shockwaves through Brookhaven. How could Harold Grayson, the kind-hearted neighbor, be capable of such horror? Detectives combed through the house, searching for any clue that might explain what happened. Harold refused to speak. His lawyer quickly shut down any questioning. But evidence told its own story. Blood spatter analysis confirmed Jessica had been killed in the living room. The plastic wrap and duct tape found in the basement suggested premeditation. But the real twist came when police discovered Jessica's phone, wiped clean, hidden in Harold's dresser. Security footage from a nearby house revealed Jessica walking past Harold's home the night she disappeared. She never came back. But the footage also showed something chilling. Harold standing in his doorway watching her. He knew she would pass his house. He was waiting. The case against Harold was mounting. But one question remained. Why? What motive did this seemingly harmless old man have for killing a young woman? Neighbors began recalling odd interactions. Jessica had mentioned once that Harold made her uncomfortable. He would appear out of nowhere when she was outside, offering unsolicited advice about her home. He had invited her over for dinner multiple times, despite her politely declining. Then, detectives found something that turned the case on its head. In a hidden compartment in Harold's closet were old VHS tapes and photographs, hundreds of them. Images of women, some taken without their knowledge, stretching back decades. Surveillance notes. Jessica wasn't his first obsession. Forensic psychologists painted a disturbing picture of Harold Grayson. He wasn't just a lonely old man. He was a predator. He had likely spent years fixating on women in his community, watching them, learning their routines. Jessica had become his latest fixation, and when she rejected his kindness, something inside him snapped. Investigators theorized that he had lured her inside under false pretenses. Maybe an offer to help fix something, maybe a plea for company. Once inside, things escalated, and he ensured she never left. But the deeper question haunted everyone. Had he done this before? If not murder, had there been other victims, other women who had escaped his grasp without ever realizing how close they came to danger? The trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Harold was sentenced to life without parole. But Brookhaven would never be the same. Neighbors who once left their doors unlocked now installed security cameras. People who once trusted their friendly neighbor now questioned everyone. Jessica's family, while relieved to have justice, could never fill the void her absence left. His trial became the talk of the town, with many struggling to reconcile the man they knew with the monster he had become. In court, his defense tried to argue diminished capacity, but the overwhelming evidence left no room for doubt. The jury deliberated for only a few hours before delivering a guilty verdict. Harold was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Brookhaven was never the same. Jessica Lane's tragic fate shattered the illusion of safety in the quiet suburb. Neighbors, once so trusting, now double-checked their locks and questioned the people they thought they knew. Her best friend, Maya, started a foundation in Jessica's name, advocating for women's safety and community awareness. The story of Harold Grayson serves as a chilling reminder. Sometimes, the most dangerous people hide in plain sight, behind warm smiles and kind gestures. And sometimes, the most horrifying truths are buried right next door. In the end, Harold Grayson died alone in prison, his secrets buried with him. But his story remained a chilling reminder. Sometimes, the most dangerous people aren't the strangers lurking in the shadows. Sometimes, they're the ones who smile and wave from across the street.